What's up, party people? Welcome back to Rooted and Relentless. You've done this before. You know the jam. We're about to have a lot of fun, even more so maybe today than we typically do, because we're continuing our series of introducing you to some pretty rad people. And today is Rachael Perry. I'm so excited to have Rachael here. She is one of the founding members, the Clarity Coven, of the Rooted and Relentless podcast. So not only have we been having fun in the mastermind now for a couple months since October, but Rachael and I connected earlier last year and really just hit it off on Instagram and have become friends since then. And I'm really balled into so much about Rachael, not just business that we'll talk about today, but life. You as a person, I just love being surrounded and connected and truly starting to call people friends that are like smart, ambitious women, and boy, do you fit that category. But instead of me droning on and on, you're here. So why don't you just tell us a little bit more about what you do, Rachael? Specifically, I know if it was me, I would tell people that you create content that feels good to them, as good as it performs. And you also, I happen to know, because we've worked on this, have quantified that you save your people on average 60 hours a month in their content creation, which is kind of bonkers in the best possible way. But instead of me droning on and on, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do with Chateau Marigold and who you do it for?
I would love to. First, I have to say thank you for having me here, and I freaking adore you. I love Instagram for bringing us together. One of my favorite spots to hang out is our DMs, like getting to talk about books, getting to talk about business, getting to talk about being moms who are also running businesses. It's just so special. So I'm so grateful. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for doing
For
your
bringing me.
thing. Like the algorithm gets all the hate, right? But it's like, it worked. It did its thing.
It
We found each
honestly
other.
did because I met you through a mutual connection or something. And I just thought, wow, her content's so amazing and so cool. And now here we are, friends and a total world away from where we started, both in our businesses and life. So it's awesome. Chateau Marigold, my little brainchild. I'm so proud this year. I was able to just dive fully into that business actually last year. I have to start saying last year
Last year, I know.
last year, dove fully into being an entrepreneur and helping to create content. And I really think it started for me out of just wanting to have memories. I remember there was a season and a time where I ran out of pictures of my father. I ran out of videos of us together after he had passed. And it really sparked in me a desire to document as much as I could. And then you start turning into content and playing around with that and messing around with it. And so it's led to me being able to do that for other people. And I enjoy it so much. And some of my clients enjoy having it, but don't enjoy doing it. And that's really where I come in. I'm able to tell their story, get with them, connect with them on what they would like their content to say about them, and find really cool, punchy ways to bring that to life. And I can do that remotely or I can do that in person. So you can send your products to me and I can record all of your content in one day for a month, get you completely set up, or I can actually go to you and be on site and record all of your content in one day, take all of the process of planning, scripting, shooting, art direction, anything off of your plate and literally save you, on average, we're doing about 60 hours per client, which is so awesome because it's time back with their families, time back for their hobbies, time back that you and I would love for even more reading of romantasy. And I also get to have so much fun helping to tell their stories.
Okay, I'm obsessed. Yeah. Cosign, especially the fantasy book reading, obviously. So you mentioned that a couple times already, and it's very important. People listening to this, you already know. You already know I'm obsessed with fantasy books. If you didn't know, Rachel is too, and that's what we're talking about here. So immediately, we were already chatting in the DMs since the year started, and it's early in January. And I was like, I didn't get as much time over the holidays as I thought I would to read the books. So when you're like,
Hmm.
you get 60 hours back, I'm like, yeah, I could hang with my kids. Or, and I'll give them 10 and I'll take the other 50 and catch up
Yeah.
on some reading and all the series I'm behind on. That's hilarious, but it's huge. And I was nodding along too because I'm like, yeah, that's totally me. I can't say I enjoy creating content. I enjoy creating thoughts. I enjoy is sharing my expertise. I enjoy educating people, but thinking about the format that that's in and all the latest tips and tricks and the recent algorithm change and like how to put that in a way that resonates with people. I can honestly say that I enjoy that, even though you said like, I saw your content and I liked it. You probably connected to my personality. We know there was fantasy books involved to us connecting.
Yeah.
But creating it, I mean, I can't honestly say that, like, it brings me joy, so hence why folks like us, we can end up meshing well together because I wanna back
I
end and
know.
ops and strategize all day and make sure it's, like, what people need to hear, but someone else helps with the manner and the format is just
Yeah.
sounds dreamy, truly sounds
I do
dreamy.
that too for in person. Like, if you are a person, not just you have a product, but I can also do that remotely for you too, and literally script everything, tell you what we're shooting, and you just sit down in front of your computer, in front of your camera. You just send me the video. I make sure that I get everything edited and set up for you. So I really enjoy doing that. I think what's cool about who I've been able to work with so far, they're all making a really big difference in the world, and a lot of them have been women. And I think that's so, so, so cool that I'm actually a really big part of helping to form more communities like this. I get to see the DMs that are coming in and coming through, and I'm seeing people say, my gosh, I feel so seen. I really needed that. And it's awesome to be able to be a part of that story behind the scenes
That's
and
so cool.
help other women scale their businesses like that. So cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That is so like you're saying when you're in their social media, you're seeing it resonate with their audience. So like there it is, but
Mm,
what you created is resonating with their people. That's cool.
mhm.
And you mentioned your dad too, Rachel, like being a catalyst or like running out of that and it being a catalyst. And that is so huge. I don't even know, like, have you realized now your dad is always going to be a part of your business story?
Hmm.
That's
I
really
actually
awesome.
had not, you know, thought of it in that way, but it is really,
Yeah,
really cool.
always like
It
a
is cool.
catalyst in some way. That is so I love it. Okay, let's dig in a little bit to content creation specifically like we just talked about. Some people it's just necessary in some way shape or form to get your thought leadership out there these days regardless of what manner, whether that's social media, long form content, like whatever we're talking about. Bringing it back down because we know that it's necessary regardless of if you pay someone or not. If someone is struggling with content creation, I'm really curious, what's the first thing you'd have them look at or dig into or try?
Yeah, I think most people struggle with content creation because they think they don't their idea isn't actually good enough. I think it's a really hard comparison game. It's important to study and it's important to see what's relevant and what is out there, but it's also really important to go inward and share, what do I want to actually be talking about? How do I want to show up? What's great about my brand that I'm really passionate about? And what is the message that I want to get across? And I think it's probably one of two things. They're either so hung up on converting and driving sales and making sales happen that they've forgotten that there's real people on the other side of the screen that they need to connect with. They've forgotten to connect their emotional why to what it is that they're doing. And the content just comes across really shecky and salesy. And people are savvy now. They want to actually have a connection and a relationship with you. They don't want to feel like a dollar sign. The other thing that I think people are doing is discounting themselves. They are disqualifying themselves right away. It's like, but I'm looking at so and so, and they have 450,000 followers, and they've already made their business happen. So, what is my idea going to do? And everybody started at zero. One of my very favorite exercises to do with a client who's feeling stuck, or even if I'm coaching somebody and giving them a little bit of mentorship on content creation, is on the call live with me. I will have them scroll back to some of the very first posts or scroll back like 3 or 4 years so we can start to see what that early content looked like. Is game changing how it levels the playing field. All of a sudden, your very favorite influencer who always has this incredible vibe might have hung one of those rakes on the wall that used to be very cool, vintage rigs with necklaces hanging down, or they might have posted their dinner on a paper plate, or you start to see that they were a scrub tech nurse back in the day and they were incredibly tired and they posted a grainy photo of themselves that they would never post today. And I think it just helps people understand you're seeing the byproduct of years of work. And that exercise in and of itself is incredibly tedious because you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. You get a little annoyed with the process. It feels like, oh, this could be a waste of time. That's what it feels like to build a brand. That's what it feels like to start something in seed form and then see it through to the 450K dream, right? Of what it could look like today. So I think it's one of those two things.
Rachel, when I started this, I was like, and a smart human or a smart woman or something like that. You just proved that there. Like this exercise in itself, that's a mindset shift you just help people with too. So you're not just helping them create content. I love that itself because it's so true. Like they're just ahead of you. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong. And I'll be honest that one of the best shifts I made for myself was to stop thinking that people already knew what I knew. You know, that this knowledge that I have is not special. Like everyone has it. False. I've been working for 20 years at the point that I pivoted to this in my business, like work in the workforce. So my experience
Wow.
spanned decades. And I was like, but people don't need to know that. Like that little tip. Yeah, they do, because that little tip adds up. And so it was like, when you started talking about that and you're like, people don't know what to say or like why it stands out or how it's different from this person who has 450,000 followers. And you hit the nail on the head. At first that we want connection now. So the whole game has changed, which is
Mhm.
great for folks that feel like they're starting out or really getting into content creation, that you're not behind, even if they've been doing it that 4 years, like you had them scroll back. You're just on time for yourself. And there are still people that need to hear what you have to say, learn what you have to teach, do what you need to have them do,
Yeah.
and your content can be a way that you find those people or those people find you rather, and you get
Yeah,
the
and I think
opportunity then
that's
to
a
speak to them.
yes, and that's huge, especially because I think we're moving away from social media and we're in the age of interest media. Everyone can curate their feeds now. Everyone can say, this is the type of content I would like to see, or these are the things that really bring me joy. Some people are even eliminating whole keywords that they don't want to show up in their feeds. And that's why I think creating something that is true to you is even more important because you, like you say, you are going to find those people that actually are very, very highly interested in that. People do want something to rally around and they want something to be a part of. They want to be a part of a movement and they want to be seen and to help to see others. And so, yeah, I think more than ever, that's going to be huge in 2026, especially.
Yeah, and you're creating connection points. That's one thing, like you pointed out, is people get lost in like the selling. Like my content is to sell. I have to do the social media thing, check the box so I can sell. And that's not what every single piece of your content is going to do. Like you're creating connection points and inviting people to your world. We're both proof of that. We pointed out the algorithm did its thing and like we found each other. But do you think that we started business conversations and Rachel was like, hey, I want to join your mastermind? No,
I
that's
think
not
it
how this started. It's probably started over fantasy books.
That's what it was. I think that you had a fantasy book in one of your I just remember a picture of you holding a book and I was like, "Oh, I love that book." I was
Yeah.
so excited about it, and that's that yeah, now it's led to what it has today.
Yeah, so, like, you're creating connection points, and I agree with you on the social media thing. We've already seen that, and now there's data that backs it up. So, like, that people are moving from social media, not just business, but new generations coming up. There's a rise in clubs that have you put your phone in a lockbox and go in and really connect with people. So, regardless of the tool that you use and the mode that you're creating the content and reaching people, the point is that people are craving connection, and you are helping
Mhm.
create those connection points for people and maximizing their impact, which is huge.
I do think if you are a business owner or if you have a passion, you want to make music, you want to make art, you want to underwater basket weave, I do think you have a responsibility to use the internet in some way because we've never had the ability before to run a business. If I think about myself being a toddler mom of a 3-year-old and having a business that I can stay home or not miss any of her things and take her to the park and do all that, that was not possible. I mean, when my mom was raising me, my brother, my sister, it was not possible. And I remember her being so frustrated trying to get 3 kids out the door as a single mom, 3 kids under 6, under 7. It was a nightmare, or if one of us was sick, it was devastating. And I know a lot of moms are still in that. I just think it's so interesting that we have this ability right now to build something from anywhere at any time. I think the challenge and the flip side of what's the biggest struggle is that it's never been more easy to get distracted, to have self-doubt, to not be in your own lane enough that you just become rudderless, right, towards your goals because it's just so distracting when you can have access to how many people are doing better than you or have started sooner or have taken the marketplace. Excuse me, I keep hitting this because I just am so passionate talking to my hands. I need to move my mic like you moved yours. But, it's just never, ever, ever been so easy to be distracted.
And sometimes it's not even a comparison. Like sometimes it's the comparison component, but when you have access to millions of people, honestly, like
Hmm.
millions of pieces of content in any given day, week, month, or year,
World
we're
events.
all, yeah, world events. We're giving advice. So you're consuming like 30 people saying to do something 15 different ways. And now you're confused and
Yes.
spinning your wheels versus take it down a notch, focus in, create what needs to be created to pull the eyes to you, the eyes that you want to engage with and build community with and have conversations with that have some similar interest, like fantasy books, like we did, and maybe some other magic sparks beyond there. Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. We have been doing the mastermind now just a few months. What part of your identity or energy has expanded in those few months since October?
So I started my business in February. I was basically in a corporate hellscape, and it was like a last ditch effort to do a corporate job and also prioritize being a mom, which it's unfortunate, but it's not uncommon that many moms find themselves trapped between the career that they've grown, built, nurtured, and this role of a lifetime that they will never be demoted out of, fired, terminated from, because it's just incredible being a mom. And I took the leap, quit my job in February, made this beautiful business, moved my family over to Chicago, literally with one client. And we grew and scaled, and it became so big that my partner needed to come on board and support as well. And what I found in that process, it's amazing, but I think I had no filter. I was just like, any client, anyone that wants to be a part of this, I would love to have them. And that was true. All the projects were so exciting because you're seeing this thing that you took a huge chance on pan out and work. And what I realized is somehow in taking this really giant leap, I had become a little bit scarcity minded of like, should I have boundaries in my business? Everybody wants to do business with me right now, so I should do business with everyone. It's so cool and it's so abundant. But what I found is I was kind of burning myself out working and taking on so many different projects. I was nurturing too many relationships to actually go deep and add value to the right people. And I was totally afraid to scare the wrong people away because I somehow thought that was going to impact my bottom line. And being in the mastermind and hearing so many other business owners go through that, maybe they're in different stages of that. And then also knowing, oh man, my advice would be take that leap anyway. It kind of was confronting. It was a beautiful mirror of where I was at and what would be the right thing. And this word is overused a lot these days, but I think I got real clarity on what needs to be edited, clarity on messaging. I think also conversations that I need to have where I'm like, okay, I need to separate myself from this. It worked for a while. It doesn't anymore. That's okay for me to be able to do. And because we're all online and because we do have a certain element of marketing, right? There's not really a safe space for a solopreneur to actually talk about some of these things. If you go to your family and friends, some of them who don't believe in your business are like, yeah, this is why you shouldn't do that. This is
Mm-hmm.
dumb. That's why you should go back and get a 9 to 5. If you talk about it in some, mixers or entrepreneur circles, sometimes people can be a little catty and maybe discouraging there too. So to actually get advice where you can be vulnerable, really share the stuff that keeps you up at night, be seen and validated, but also called higher, not just like, oh, I know that's really tough, but you guys refused to leave me the same as you found me. And I think that's incredibly rare. It really allowed me to say, okay, I'm cutting all of these clients in the back half of the year. These are the ones that I am not, bringing with me. These are the ones that get an option, but here's how that's going to look a little bit different. And there was a moment where I was like, that was a huge mistake. I'm going back to get any job. I'll be at McDonald's. I will serve fries. It's fine. I
Terrifying.
don't need the freedom of being an entrepreneur. It's stupid. And then you guys heard me out on that too. And then the next week I'm able to be like, here's all the new clients that we have. And here's how much more aligned they are. So I'm really grateful to have a space to not only reflect on what needs to change, but actually be nurtured through it and push to change it. Because as you know, with an entrepreneur having your own company, there's a million things at any given time that you have to prioritize. So it's great to have a point of reference for people to say, okay, here's where you keep the blinders on. Here's how we get that done, and then be able to execute with, again, that word clarity. But it's true.
Yeah. It is. Okay. I don't know if I'm glad you kept talking because about the middle of the way there, I don't know if you realized, but you were making me tear up and I've
I didn't
never Yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I appreciate you so
I
much.
l
I've made someone cry on my podcast, but no one's made me cry yet. So I don't know if it counts if it didn't come out down my face, but it's just, and I've told you this before because you've like not been shy about sharing the impact that it's had on you, but it is really hard for me to put into words what it feels like to have the idea that you then create with the impact in mind, like what I want this to do for people. And then for that
Mm,
to actually happen,
mhm,
like it is just really hard to explain what that feels like other than emotional, obviously incredible, but like the word clarity specifically, we freaking hate it. Thanks ChatGPT for ruining that because I don't know what else I'm supposed to say other than clarity. The support group part, like you pointed out, we can't like we want to be vulnerable and raw and authentic in our content. We talk about that and we do to an extent, but also we can't you can't just come on and be like, this is hard and I'm not sure I want to do it and I might go get a job at McDonald's because boom, then people are like, well, we can't trust Rachel. She's just gonna get a job tomorrow. It's hard. It's going to be hard.
mhm,
It's freaking scary. And what nothing that you went through is specific to you. Like you're not alone in that.
mhm.
Starting the entrepreneurial journey, like the scarcity mindset, we say yes to everything. We swap services. We take misaligned clients because we're shocked that people want to pay us. And the
Yep,
buck is 100% on you when you start an entrepreneurship journey, like as a solopreneur. When you create the idea, when you create the concept, when you create the marketing, when you land the clients and sell, when you deliver the client experience, when all of that falls on you and the money for your family that you just moved across the country, the weight of that, carried it. You got permission and camaraderie, I think, through the mastermind because you're like, oh, God, well, first off, not alone. Everyone's kind of faced
mhm,
this in some way, shape, or form. And it's not going to not be scary, but have people like consistently remind you and give you tips that help that you then go and implement and remind you to charge more. And then that work to pay off is like, you're living it right now, which is insane. And like you started this with the impact that you want to have of what you do for other people. And, you know, the catalyst being losing memories for your dad. And you're so proud of being a mom, so proud for the first time ever that you were able to take time off around the holidays to spend with her. And you pointed out so many people can't do that. So
mm,
many moms don't have the opportunity. I was one of those. My 12-year-old at 6 weeks old, I was dropping him off at a daycare where he couldn't have a blanket in the crib. That's gonna make
yeah.
me cry now, like, that is devastating nonsense because that
They do, they take their milk away, like, everything they've known their whole life, they take it, and honestly, look at you, like, you're an idiot to request, like, a comfort item for your
Yeah.
child.
So you're exactly right with, like, to design it, to be the mom, to have the impact, to make the money, to have the lifestyle. I like to say, like, our business is a vessel to do that, and I don't care
Mhm,
how mission driven or impact obsessed your business is, that's a part of your life's work, what you want to happen. And being a mom, a good one that's present, is a part of my life's work. And having slow mornings and fostering, you know, a great relationship with my husband and reading fantasy books, that's a life I want to live. And my business is the vessel to do that.
mm,
Okay, we'll wrap it up with one more question. And I think we've nailed this probably already. So we can just reiterate, put a cap on it. And if there's any like
yeah.
specific actions you want to share, but what's one piece of advice you'd give another person that's building a service-based business right now?
I have, like, 19 things that came to mind. I think if you're building a service-based business right now, just remember that relationships are going to take your business farther, faster. It will build something more long-lasting than anything you could do. Any gimmick, any giveaway, any promo, any discount can do. If you are in a service-based business, remembering that it's an honor to serve other people and be in relationship with them and help them see their goals. This doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries around the work that you do. This doesn't mean that you don't have systems and processes and standards that align with how you want to run your business. But there are people on the other side of the screen and they are craving a more analog offline experience that is going to remind them of the great stuff of life. People really want to touch grass these days. And, I guess two examples of this are everybody's inbox is overflowing. The dread, the memes of the dread, that are so popular because everyone gets it. What would happen if you sent your clients a piece of mail? The mailbox is empty, How can
Yeah.
you create these experiences that are still going to keep you top of mind, but be relational, intentional, and take a bit of time? Another example of this is I have a client who signed with me just after Thanksgiving, and we've been really sprinting and running. And we have been in relationship with each other for almost a year. I think February will be 1 year. And it was just two moms vibing back and forth, talking about what it's like being moms in business, hanging out in the DMs. But she was one of the first clients to sign on my new package pricing that I was honestly nervous about, and it's the right pricing. It justifies everything is aligned. We talked about it in the mastermind, but she was like, yes, I trust you. I want to do this. I know you're worth it. Has never worked with me before in a digital marketing capacity, but was so aligned. And it was the trust that we had built over nearly a year that helped to bring that forward. So don't discount a small beginning and don't discount starting relationally and actually investing and fostering community with other people. That's the hack, if you will.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a hack. They want to microwave it. That is the hack. Be a great human, create incredible community, align yourself with people, right, who share your values, but do life with folks and hang out in the DMs. And there's a lot of magic that can come from that.
Mic drop. Build relationships, foster trust, give a great experience to everyone, not just your clients. And the clients will flow in abundance. And so will the money because you're true and people trust you and they know what you stand on and you're memorable and you're top of mind. That's why you're finding success, friend. You got it. Keys to the castle. You just unlocked the door. You really just
I'm so
unlocked the door.
grateful. I mean, you start a thing and you're like, I'm telling my partner, this is what I think we need to do. This is what I think we need to do last February. And there were a lot of like ups and downs as with any great adventure. But, we celebrated 6 figures in 11 months. We moved across the country. We're just getting started. And it's amazing to see what a year in our dream city could actually bring to us and all of the lessons a crash course of full-time entrepreneurship can bring. So I'm excited, looking ahead with so much expectancy. And I hope other business owners are too.
Yes, I hope so too. And honoring yourself. Remember that that's what you guys really chose to do. Honor yourself and your values and live in that alignment. And you're doing it and it's working. And I'm so pumped. Again, thank you, algorithm, Instagram gods, whoever you are out there, bring
Yeah.
us together, do your thing. All right, as we wrap it up, Rachael, please tell everyone listening where they can hang out with you, where they can keep up with you outside of Rooted and Relentless
You can
shenanigans.
hang out and keep up with all my shenanigans on at Chateau Marigold, CHATEAU Marigold on Instagram. And I can't wait to see you there.
Yeehaw. I'll drop that in the show notes so you can grab the link, keep up with Rachael, and it will not be the last that you hear from her, her partner, her fam, and Chateau Marigold.
Awesome.
Hey.
Thanks, Steph. Bye.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Rooted and Relentless. If it made you laugh, not alone, or grab that cute little notebook of yours and scribble something down, please hit me with the SSR, subscribe, share, and review, as in leave a review. Thanks for hanging. Bye.